Oh, it's never a dull moment around here. Now I have a cat in lap. Worthy wisdom, wondrous, willingness, whimsical. Waiting. Why? Willing. Wellness. Waits for resistance training. Of course. Of course. These are excellent words. This is just a joy. Just love having a cat in the lap. Love having a cat in the lap. Um, just not willing to have a cat in the lap. So the first word that I kind of wanted to talk about is wise. Have you ever, big question to ask yourself. Have you ever been ready? You thought you're ready in your head. You're not currently, losing weight, but you're ready to go and give it another try. And you're watching all the videos and you're seeing people, there's stories on Instagram and whatever. And you just think that, I need to find the right program for me. I just need to learn a little bit more. I need to wait until the time is right. All these different questions that we kind of ask ourselves, and it's kind of just a way of procrastination. But the truth of it is, for the most part, we are very wise. Most of us know from experience, just living on earth, just whatever. We have the knowledge, we have good judgment. We don't need to look for the next best diet, we don't need to doubt ourselves. Our intuition is probably telling us something that we already know, that we just, maybe we don't even want to listen to it. Maybe we think that it's wrong because so many other, lots of reasons that could be out there. Maybe it's, we're just pushing ourselves too hard, whatever. But we're very, very, very wise. And if we were just to listen to ourselves for a little bit and just get started, that would be, a huge, huge thing. Sometimes, even whenever we're on a weight loss journey, somewhere in the middle, closer to the end, whatever it may be, there's something in our head that we're trying to tell ourselves that we're not listening to, but we're wise. We need to remember how wise we are. A lot of the people that we know in our lives come to us for information, for guidance, for our opinion, because we're wise. But whenever it comes to ourselves, we like to, pass judgment on ourselves and think that we don't know enough, and we just don't trust, our instincts. But we're wise and we should trust ourselves. We should listen to ourselves. It's very, very important. We just need to get started. Just know what feels good. And we're going to get into this a little bit more as we go on. But I just think that, believing that we're wise is really, really important. And I don't care if you're doing weight loss or not. I think that believing that we are wise is important. And if that's too strong of a word, you're smart. Okay? You're smart. Some people are like, oh no, I can't go with wise. I know for a long time I resisted the word wise because it didn't felt like it belonged to me. But that's the story I tell myself. It's not true. I am wise. I bring a lot of experience. I bring a lot of judgment. I've got all of this stuff. So that's my little soapbox, starting off strong with the soapbox. Yes. Love it. Love it. See, but you are wise. See, I think we all do that to ourselves. We like to say that, I've never really considered myself wise, but we really, truly are. And I think it's just one of those words that it's easy to say, oh, that person is so wise, but it's not easy to give that assignment to yourself. That's just what I think about it. That's what I think about it. So, talking about being wise. So we're pretty wise, I would say. Do you think that it is a wise decision to just instinct here to treat your weekends, W word, different than your weekdays? Another W word. Do you think it is a good idea to treat your weekends different than your weekends? That's put it in the chat. Let me know. What do you think about that? Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I'm right there with you. I think for some people that it is wise as it makes a lifestyle and sustainable. I would 100% agree with that. There's a lot of information out there versus weekends and weekdays, and the truth of the matter is that you have to figure out a way that makes it sustainable for you. Now, there are some, information out there that week weekend cheat days that they could kind of hurt your health. Alcohol and sugar and processed foods, if that's something that you're doing a lot of on the weekend, you might see a difference in how the scale reacts. You might see a slowing of weight loss because of just the changes that it can just make in your gut bacteria or the inflammation that it causes. So these small things, but I think over like in the grand scheme of things, whenever you like take it out into the big picture, it's not that harmful. Yeah, you're going to see these small things in the short term, but how's it going to affect you like long term? Also, if you're eating like high sugary foods and alcohol and this stuff, they can give you a sugar rush. They can cause cravings. If these are things that you're not used to having on a regular basis, that could be something that it's harder for you to get back to, your regular eating. If you're doing these things on the weekend, you might notice that. So you might feel like, well, maybe it's not really good. And it's all going to be dependent on you. And we just have to look at it and kind of wonder, oh, is that why Mondays are so hard for me? Is that why I don't want to get out of bed? Is that why the scale jumps up after a weekend? Just, have a little bit of curiosity and think about it and say, is that something that I'm willing to tolerate as I go through? But like Misty said, that sometimes we need it because it makes it more sustainable in the long run. So it's worth that, just little give and take and push and pull that you get with, having those days. So I know a friend of mine, she just has been drinking more alcohol this summer than what she normally would. And she's really noticed that it's affecting her weight loss. So if that's something that's, really big for you, is that, on the weekends, it's something that you just want to think about and maybe experiment and see, where do we want to draw the line? Another thing about it is it can create guilt and negative emotions and feelings. And I don't think those are ever really helpful, because whenever you're feeling, guilty or negative, you just can get overly fixated on it and worry, and it's just not, helping you out all that much. So having a big, cheat day might not be the best thing for you. If it's something that you've been doing, you might want to sit down and think about how, I don't know what's going on, how that is, going in your life. So weekends versus weekdays. For me, what happened? What am I doing? For me, doing it daily keeps it sustainable, but I do add carbs on the weekends. So some people would say that I change up the weekends when I carb cycle just a little bit. And I don't think of it very differently as, some Some people have different like rules. Like I can only have a Starbucks whenever I go to the tax advisor. That's just their rule there. And that's like, that's when I get to have my Starbucks. I don't have it all the time. How many times do I go see my tax person? Not very often. I can have it then. It's just, what are you willing to do and what are you not willing to do is what it comes down to. My weekends, I think a lot of people would probably find me crazy because I get up on the weekends mostly the same time I do on weekdays. It's just, I like to stay in that routine. I like to stay in that rhythm. I love my morning times. It's just, I do the same thing that I do on the weekday that I do on the weekend. I get up, I do my journal, I walk the dog, I do my exercise, and then I've got some other things that I do on Saturdays versus go to work that I do, Monday through Friday. But it just keeps me into that just nice, steady rhythm and flow. Some people would like, much prefer to sleep in for 3 extra hours on the weekends, but that's just not, who I am. Once I started really embracing having a routine and a schedule on weekdays, I did notice a big difference. I used to be a person who didn't have any structure at all to my weekends. And I would just procrastinate. And then Monday would come around and I'd be like, oh my gosh, now I've got all this work and all this time and I've got no time to do anything. And it set me up for failure for the week. So bringing in structure like I have Monday through Friday, I have a lot of structure because that's when I work. I'm off on the weekends. Bringing that structure into my weekends, knowing that these are the times and these are the places that I need to do XYZ in order to set myself up for the future has been strong. So, weekends versus weekdays. What's your favorite, the weekend or the weekday? What's your favorite? Is it a Wednesday? Is Wednesdays your favorite? I love Wednesdays because of the Deanna live stream. So, weekends versus weekdays. Harder on weekends because of less. Oh, wait, I clicked on the wrong thing. Less routine. Don't change up my goals or workouts for the weekend. So, yeah, I think that having a routine on weekends has just been a game changer for me. Also, there is a whole thing that with the weekends that it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Culturally acceptable to let loose, to play, to eat a little bit more, to be a little bit more lazy, to have a little bit more fun on the weekends. And I think for some people, that's something that is hard to let go of, that belief, that way of life, that socialization, that connection with others. And once you start making different changes in order to help with your weight loss, it can feel a little bit differently and it can feel, just different. I know that a lot of people, they want to relax, they want to have fun. And a lot of the ways that they were before weight loss, relaxing or having fun had to do with being lazy and indulging more, doing less, So that can be a hard transition to make in order to have both relaxation and fun in your life and the weight loss. Oh yes. So yep, that is something that a lot of people do. It's a common occurrence that people would eat out of boredom. You've got all this extra time, and you've got, nothing to do with it. And that's where, if you see, that's why I think that tracking really does help. So just to bring that awareness to what you're doing. If I forget to write down what I ate, honestly, if I go more than 2 days without writing down what I ate, I cannot remember what I ate. I have no idea. It's like so hard. I have to ask, what did we eat the other day? Writing down what you eat, becoming aware of how much you're eating, when you're eating, why you're eating is so important. Very, very important. That way you can be aware of what you're doing. Sometimes you can do it without even realizing it. You just kind of excuse it away. You just, that was a one time. And then if you're really looking back on it, you're saying, oh, okay, I did it this weekend. Oh, and that weekend. And you see that it's actually a pattern. So tracking helps become aware of that pattern and like, is this something that I want to do? Is this helpful to my weight loss or is it not helpful? Because there's nothing wrong with snacking. It's not always going to be a bad thing. But if you're not losing the way that you want to, that might be something that you want to look at and say, well, is this something that, I could cut out? And that takes us to the next word that I'm going to talk about tonight, which is willingness. Willingness. Oh, this word is significant whenever it comes to weight loss. Our, willingness, our readiness, our determination, our commitment, just to make the necessary changes, the habits, the behaviors in order to achieve our weight loss goals and weight loss goals. Willingness is so big. Adopting healthy habits. What habits are you willing to adapt? And what habits are you like, no, just no, I'm not willing to go there, or I'm not willing to go there yet. If somebody came up to me and said, there's guaranteed success and you can eat pizza and kale all the time, I'm not willing to do that because I hate kale, like with passion, hate it. I'm not willing to do that. There might be some other things that you're not willing to do. You're just not. But there's more than one way to lose weight. So just because, you're not willing to do that, is there something else that you are willing to do? Willingness to lose weight, just as a big thing, helps you stay consistent with your weight loss, because we're always going to face obstacles. We're always going to face setbacks. And we have to be willing to accept that as just part of the journey. Try to not let it get in our head and derail us completely. But our willingness to get there, willingness to work for our goals can help us with that consistency. Can also help with our motivation. If you're really willing, you're more likely to stay motivated. I think that some people, start and they're like, yeah, I think it's time. I think I should lose some weight. I'm ready to give it a try, but part of them, a bigger part that is willing than is the part that's not willing. So we really have to ask ourselves, are we really willing to make these adjustments that are going to be required in order to lose weight. But I think a willing attitude, whenever we're really willing, it can help with our mindset. It's like just that on-off switch. I tend to operate on a huge dial that's like one day it's way cold, one day it's way hot. I operate on a dial. I've never had an on-off switch. It's always been, well, I can't say that's true. Once I turned it on, it became a switch, a dial. But a lot of people just have that on-off switch. But a willing attitude, I think, really helps to just put it on that dial. So that's my opinion. So behavior changes are another thing that we need to be willing to do, overcome our challenges. So overcoming challenges is a huge part of weight loss. And we have to be willing to fail at overcoming obstacles, because how else will we learn what works? We can't just expect that every time we face an obstacle, the first thing that we try is just going to work. And we also can't expect that the next time that we face that same obstacle, the same solution works that time too. Sometimes it doesn't work every single time. So overcoming these challenges as many times as it takes, something that we need to be willing to do and not quit on ourselves. Don't give up on ourselves. We have it within us. We can do it. And then we need to be willing to seek support, because, man, I'll tell you, sometimes it can be really, really, really difficult to be consistent, to have motivation, to have a great mindset, to make these, excuse me, to make these behavior changes, to overcome all these challenges. So we need to be willing to seek support. We need to reach out to friends, to family, to whoever. There's so many support systems out there. Find support. Sorry. Find support. And the hardest thing that I found to do sometimes is to connect with that support when you're feeling like your motivation is like in the pits. When your mindset is like, I hate life and everybody around me and blah, 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 and everything sucks. When you're facing difficulties getting out of bed, even though you told yourself, I want to get out of bed a little bit early so I can get my workout in, seek support. I'm going to cough again. Everybody watch Dan drink water. Seek that support. They can really help you with all of those things, getting you back on track faster than if you never did before. I know from experience, it's like the absolute hardest thing to do sometimes is to reach out and to connect. We all want to hide. We're just like, no, I just want to sit over here and have my own little pity party. It's something that I'm dealing with too, but it'll get us out of it so much faster if we reach out. Self-care is also very, very important. We need to be willing to prioritize our self-care. It's just going to help us in the long term whenever we take care of our physical health, our mental health, our emotional well-being, all of these things. It just helps with reducing our stress and our decision-making and all the things. So we need to be willing to do all of those things, and it's going to help us the more that we're willing. And if you're Notice in your head if you feel any resistance to any of those things. If you feel resistant to something, whether it's, exercise or eating a certain type of food or eating in a restricted time window or God, drinking water, all of these different things. If you feel, some tension or something feeling in your body whenever, you think you're going to give up soda. Well, why do you feel that? What's going on there? What's with this lack of willingness to do that? Is there more to it? There's something there that you need to kind of like dive in and discover and think about. Or even think about, is that necessary? Is that one little part of whatever it is it even necessary? Can I still do it while I continue with that? So, so many fun things. Oh, I show it all. I do. Thank you very much for your comment. I appreciate that. That's a great W word. So that was my whole big thing on willingness. So if we have all the willingness in the world to lose weight, if we have all the willingness in the world, this word gets thrown out next a lot, and I would say it's willpower. You can call it determination, you can call it drive, you can call it self-discipline, you can call it self-control, but you know what? This is the words that start with W. So we're talking about willpower tonight. Willpower. According to most psychological scientists, willpower can be defined as the ability to delay gratification, resisting short-term temptations in order to meet long-term goals. The capacity to override an unwanted thought, feeling, or impulse. The ability to employ a cool cognitive system of behavior rather than a hot emotional system. Conscious, effortful regulation of the self by the self. A limited resource capable of being depleted. Willpower. Whew. So I read that and I felt like, wow. Thank you for that last, little thing where it says resource capable of being depleted, because lately I felt like I don't know where my willpower has gone, but there are different ways that people can think about willpower. Didn't have it before, but after 3 years, you're pretty good at delaying gratification. So willpower, there are two different theories on willpower. There's the theory that there's limited willpower, and then there's another theory that willpower is unlimited. So with limited, it's like you only have so much willpower, and once your stores are depleted, your willpower runs out, and you're just, you're done for the day. So if you have a big day, it's really demanding. You've given all that you've got to give, and at the end of the day, you're just like, I just don't have it in me. I've got no willpower left. But then there's another theory that it's not limited at all, and that it's like a muscle. So the more that you use your willpower, the more that you get. You just get better at using it, and you just build it up and you build it up, and there's all the willpower that you would ever need in the world. But what really is true is it's what you believe about willpower. If you believe it's limited, or if you believe it's unlimited. If you believe it's a muscle and you can train it and you can just get better at it and better at it and better at it, you're going to be able to do that. If you believe that willpower is limited, there's just only so much, and you're only allowed so much every single day or even in a lifetime, then that's all you're going to get because you believe it to be true. Because you believe it to be true. The thing about our beliefs is they are changeable. We can change what we believe. We can change our minds. We get to choose how we want to think about it. Now, it's not really, always that simple as, well, today I'm going to decide to change my mind and now I believe this. Because you've told your brain for a really long time that you believe something else and it's like, what? Are you sure? And you got to remind it whenever you change your mind, but you can change your mind. So, willpower. Who has limited willpower and who has unlimited willpower? Question. That's the big question. Sessa, which one are you? Let me know. I want to know. I want to know. So, I believe that in true me fashion, I am both. Some days I think that I've just got unlimited willpower, and other days I think that I've got absolutely none, and it's not a muscle. So I would say it just depends on that day what I want to believe, not what I fully believe. That is what I think of it. If you work at it, lack of skill. And that's the thing. Sometimes we want to blame something on willpower when it's really just lack of skill. I'm not skilled at saying no. I'm not skilled at passing things up. I'm not skilled. I'm not skilled. So, willpower. I can do anything if you give me enough time. I believe that too. Some people also like to call willpower like effortful or effortless willpower. So, willpower would be kind of like it involves suppression. You're blocking urges and temptations. You're like, oh no, you're not going to have those. And then effortless willpower is more just like your resolve. It's your ability to motivate yourself to stick to a plan, whether you're using rewards or you're expecting your temptations or you're making adjustments. So it just really depends. But the more your goal is connected to your values and yourself, the more effortless willpower really is. But I do believe in willpower can be a skill. There's a lot of evidence out there to show that rehearsing, practicing, role playing events can be very beneficial to your desired outcome. Performers, they rehearse. Athletes, they practice, they rehearse. People who give speeches, they rehearse, they practice. We should too. So if you know that you are going into something that's going to need some willpower, write it out. Practice it in your head. Role play it with you having a really strong willpower muscle in your head 5-10 times. Practice it out and celebrate in your practice. Whenever you get done at, like, say you were going to a party, and at the party, you've got all your friends there. You're so excited to see this. And you haven't seen them in a while, and it's awesome. And they're like, oh, look, I made you this, and I made you that, and I made you this, and you got to eat all the things. And you're so excited to see everybody, and you don't want anybody to feel bad. but you don't want to eat it all either. So what are you going to do in that situation? Are you going to take a little bit of everything? Are you going to take just one item? Are you going to have none of the items? What choice are you going to make in that moment? Decide ahead of time. Practice it. And then think about how you felt whenever you got in your car to go home. Oh my God, it was so nice to see Mary. She's just so amazing. I love seeing her. And can you believe she made me food? And guess what I did? I passed it up. I'm so proud of myself. Told myself I would, and I did. I did. Practice the excitement of keeping your word to yourself. Practice the excitement of showing you have willpower. Because that gives your brain like this little happy hit of whatever freaking hormone it is that I can't remember right now. But you get it in your head and you're like, yes. And it reinforces that's what I'm supposed to do when I go. So then whenever you go, you're more likely to do it. But it starts with that practice. It starts with deciding what you're going to do. We do have willpower, but I believe it's a skill that it's a muscle that we can build, we practice, we build on it. It can be hard to have willpower in certain situations. It can be really difficult, but it's something that we can practice and learn upon and develop. Yay! It is such a good tool to use. It really is. And I really think that adding in, make sure that you go through the whole process whenever you practice and rehearse and role play, that you practice being happy, being proud, being excited, because that helps your brain know that that's what you want to do. If you forget that key part, it's kind of gets a little bit of conflicting messages from the past. But whenever you say that, oh man, this is really good, then it sets it in that you really like doing that. You like doing that a lot. It's more likely to offer up that response to you. So, the next word I wanted to talk about was our well being. So, weight loss has a lot to do with our physical well being. But we can't neglect our emotional well being, our social well being, our occupational well being, intellectual, spiritual, all of the well beings that are out there, even if there's more that I didn't even mention. They're all interconnected. So when we start to pay attention to one way more, then others start to get neglected. And when we're out of balance, it makes just small things harder to do. I know that, right now, work is occupational. It's really demanding of me. So I have to take a lot more intentional acts as far as my emotional and my social well-being in order to take care of my physical well-being. Because if I'm like so overworked, emotionally, I can just get down. If I'm not being social and having, that's a huge thing of source of relaxation and relief and fun for me is social connection. So if I'm not taking care of that social connection, then that's also hurting my emotions. And now the physical is like the last thing on my mind. So I like to try and keep them all kind of in balance with each other. And it's just one of those things where I go back to, I wonder what I could do in this situation. The longer that I'm on this journey, the better the questions that I can ask myself, the more prepared that I can be for the next obstacle that's going to come along the way. It's just learning these, small little things. It can be a lot. like my physical well-being, if I don't eat well, whenever I'm having like a crappy diet, whenever I'm not getting in my regular activity, both of those things, they affect the way that I'm able to perform because I just don't feel as good physically. That's going to hurt the way that I can perform at work. If I'm not performing good at work, my emotional well-being is hurt. So always thinking about these different things. Always, how can it help me if I did a little bit more this area or that area? What part of me needs something? Sometimes we're so busy that we don't take the time out in our day to say, am I getting what I need? What is it that I need today? What is it that I feel like I'm lacking? And sometimes by, identifying that, making it a part of a plan to do something for 2 minutes, it can really like just boost your mood, boost your attitude, help you go a little bit harder, a little bit stronger, whatever it may be. So, our well being, take care of your well being. I like in my Silk and Sonder journals, one of the exercises, they don't have it every month, and I kind of wish they did, is that they take a look at, how do you feel in all of these areas of your life? And you give them a rating at the beginning of the month. And then at the, you're supposed to work on each one and then rate yourself at the end of the month to make sure that, one is not coming out like far, far ahead of all of the others, because that's not giving you the right balance that you need. But I like that it's something that it brings to my attention to kind of look at once a month and say, where are you at with all of these things? Are you, truly taking care of yourself in all of the ways that you need to be taking care of yourselves? I think sometimes we can go really, really hardcore on one thing or another thing and then get depleted from the other things. That might be something for, that you might be facing right now with summertime. Maybe summertime to you means that you are just social. You are going to all the things. You're going to all the fairs and you're going to all the festivals. You're hanging out with all the friends. But physically, maybe it's taking a toll on you. Maybe even spiritually, it's taking a toll on you because you're not acting like maybe 100% in line with your values. So that could be something that you want to take a look at, and kind of get it back into, bring it back in just a little bit. Sometimes, whenever we're just so social, it can just be draining and you're just like, oh man, I need a break. And that's whenever, sometimes that's when our willpower muscle isn't as strong because it's just, but for all those reasons. So that's what I wanted to say about that. So wonderful W words. Thinking about our well-being and our willingness, our willpower. But I know that we're really wise people. We're wise. We know a lot of stuff and we have a lot of experience. And if our why aligns, our why, what's our why? What's your why? Type your why in the comments. If our why is really, really strong, if our why is really, really strong, that connects to all of those things, to our willingness, to our willpower. It like supersizes them. It like infuses them with like all this extra energy, makes them easier to do whenever our why is really, really strong. It's always, every day, is a day to ask yourself, why is this important to me today? Not like the big why and the great big picture of things. Why is this important to me today? Why is this important to me in this moment? Why? All of these whys to live my healthiest and happiest life. Is this helping me live my healthiest and happiest life? It's a big question. It's a good one to have a good answer to. So, why? Why? While we're on the W words, how much water have you guys drank today? All my water drinkers, I've drank this whole cup pretty much while we've been sitting here. Not going to talk about the importance of water, but I just thought I'd bring it up because I've been pretty thirsty. Oh, I love that. It's never too late. So, work. Oh, what feelings do you feel in whenever I say the word work? What feelings do you feel? So I think that really differs. I think, there's some people that just absolutely love their job and they think about work and they think about their job and they love their job and they think, yeah, happy. And some people think of work and they think, oh man, that's hard and it sucks and it's a have to, not a want to. Work. It's quite the word, work. Are you working at weight loss or are you just losing weight? I think the way that we think about it can make a difference. I'm just losing weight. Not working at it. It's just happening. It feels easier. It feels lighter. It feels more fun than working at weight loss. But it's all going to be, very individual because everybody feels differently about that word. It's so funny. Work. It's a lot of work to get up and exercise. It's really not that much work. I kind of enjoy it. I just, get out of bed and I put my feet on the ground and I get up and I exercise. But somebody else is thinking, oh man, it's a lot of work to do that. Oh, it's a lot of work. Track your calories. Oh, you gotta write them down. You gotta look them up. You gotta put them in an app. You gotta measure stuff. It's hard work. Oh, just makes it so time consuming. But it's not a lot of work. It's just 2 seconds. Doesn't take any time at all. It's just, one of those things that you just do. It's not a lot of work. Whenever we think about things as work, it can change the whole trajectory of how we do them when we think it's work versus just something fun or easy or interesting to look at or all kinds of different ways to look at things. Don't work for things that aren't rewarding. At least that's my opinion. That's a good thought. Work is rewarding. Starting is hard. Work should be rewarding. I was listening to a podcast that was saying that the other day, and I was having a hard time with it. Hey, hello and welcome. I was having a hard time with it because, busy time at work and it's a lot of stress and there's a lot to do and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes I like to take my paycheck for granted, but it is rewarding. I do get that paycheck. It is nice. I don't always get the big pat on the shoulder type rewards. I don't get a lot of recognition if I'm, that's not something big. So that's why I was kind of in it that day because I couldn't think about, my paycheck because I'm thinking, You guys don't even notice all the hard work that I do and blah, 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 and all the stuff that I put in. So I was having a hard time with it. So I think that's really interesting because, yeah, hard work is rewarding. Work is rewarding. And sometimes it's not that it's not, it's that we are not looking at it from the right perspective. What I'm trying to get at with that whole story. It was hard too, but finally I got there. I was like, okay, maybe it's not rewarding me in the way that I want to be rewarded, but it is rewarding. There we go. Work. But yeah, so there's some great ideas on how to think about work. It can be fun, it can be rewarding, it can be awesome. It doesn't always have to suck. There we go. So what other W words did we not talk about? Because I've got like a couple more minutes that I can ramble on for you all. And I want to thank you for being here. I appreciate you. You guys have no idea, really. It's just one of my favorite parts of the whole entire week is Wednesday to do the ABCs of weight loss. And I just appreciate you guys being here so very, very much. Whether you're here live or you watch the replay, I love you. Thank you. Looking for other W words. Ooh, worthy. How did I not talk about worthy? Worthy is so tricky. You are worthy. You are enough. How many times have you said it to yourself? How many times have you said it to others? Of those times that you have said it to others, how much do you believe it? And of those times that you've said it to yourself, how much do you believe it? If there's a difference between those two numbers, you need to do some work on believing that you are worthy. You need to remind yourself more often that you're worthy. You need to journal about all the things that make you awesome and amazing. Go to your friends if you can't figure them out. They'll help you. But you're worthy, and you should believe that you are worthy the same amount that you believe that somebody else is worthy when you tell them that. The numbers should be the same. They shouldn't be different. Journal about it. Talk to a friend about it. Increase your worthiness. Look at ways. Be inquisitive. I wonder, what can I do in order to increase that feeling of worthiness inside me? So many times we don't do what we want to do, even though we want to do it, because we don't feel worthy. We don't feel like we're enough. We feel like somebody else is more important than we are. We feel like other tasks are more important. We are worthy of taking care of ourselves. We are worthy of self-care. We are worthy of health. We are worthy of all of it. All of it. But it comes down to believing it. Really, really, really believing it. And I know that can be hard too, because some days you're like, yes, I am. And some days you might not feel like it's so much. And it's those hard days that we got to work on just a little bit. Because I think we're all guilty. Some days, everything's on a sliding scale. We got good days, we got bad days. And it's okay for that to happen. We can work on it. We can keep getting better and stronger and better every single day. Ooh, what was it? Basically, worthiness doesn't exist. Is a flower worthy of sunlight? Is a tree worthy of water? Nope. They just get it and they grow. Oh, That is excellent. Well, I'm so glad that you came in here to give the best line of the entire day. I appreciate you. Worthiness doesn't exist. Is a flower worthy of sunlight? Is a tree worthy of water? No, they just get it and they grow. Okay, guys, so that's it for the week. Go out there, get your sunlight, get your water, grow. I will see you guys in the next video. As always, it's going to be an adventure. Bye.